Hey guys, this is Billy with Audio Advice. Today we are here at the KEF Music Lounge in Marlboro, New Jersey. I'm here with my friend Ben from KEF, and they've been nice enough to open their doors for us to film today, and we're looking forward to showing you around. Ben, if you want to tell us a little bit about KEF and a little bit of what you have on display here.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So KEF, first off, we were founded all the way back in 1961 in Maidstone in the UK, which we're still based in terms of our R&D and high-end manufacturing. And our founder was an ex-BBC engineer by the name of Raymond Cook. And his big idea all the way back in the late 50s and then opening KEF in 1961 was to use new materials, new manufacturing methods and new engineering to create not just better sounding loudspeakers than was available at the time, but more consistently manufactured systems as well. And that's kind of really carried through the history of KEF. So we have our own R&D department still in Maidstone, and we're not just learning about speaker design there, we're actually learning about the science of sound. So on top of acousticians, we have research physicists, we've got a DSP engineer, we've got a subwoofer expert, a metamaterials expert as well. And all of those guys work on every product. So everything from, like we have the CI160 ERs in the ceiling here, kind of our entry level in ceiling speakers, all the way up to Blade and Muon. It's the same guys, the same team that works on practically every single product. As a manufacturer, we are a vertically integrated tier 1 manufacturer, meaning that everything that we can do ourselves, we will do ourselves. So everything from the drivers to the cabinets to assembly to the crossovers, everything we do in-house as far as possible, allowing us to continue that philosophy of consistency that Raymond Cook brought in all the way back 60 years ago. Now, with the R&D department, there's been a lot of firsts over the decades. I mean, we were the first guys to use computers in loudspeaker design and manufacturing, all the way back in 1971. So when computers were, as big as most small rooms in a house, at a point as powerful as a Nokia 3310, as an example. And through the years, we've used that in order to model and test new ideas. So 1976, we brought in total system design, which is a holistic approach to loudspeaker design. In 1984, we commercialized force cancelling, and much more recently, the application of metamaterials and the Uni-Q driver into some of our products. Now, the big one that came out from KEF back in 1988, so it's been around a little bit for a little while now, is the Uni-Q driver. So this is our combination point source of our high frequency driver and our mid-range, precisely aligned so that every frequency from those two drivers emanates from a single point, just in the same way that every sound in nature is created. And this creates a very, very natural sound because every part of the sound is reaching you at the same time. But also it gives a very, very wide sweet spot, a lot of flexibility in terms of placement. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that as we go through some of the products that we have here in the KML.
All right, thanks for running through that, Ben. And we had the opportunity, 3 of us actually, to sit here at the bar, and we did the Ready Player One demo, which is obviously one of the most popular demos out. And we've seen it a million times, but we're usually watching in traditional theater settings. So to see it in this bar setting and to still have the level of immersion that these CI products provided was really an incredible experience. Now, we love the look of this installation. In an area like this, super modern, sleek, in-wall, in-ceiling can be such an elegant solution. If you want to learn how to install an in-ceiling or in-wall speaker, we actually have a video on this, and the link will be in the description below. Now we're going to slide over from the bar area, and we're going to look at this section that shows a lot of their box speakers, and they have several different lines here, and I'm going to let Ben walk you through what they have on display.
So one of the key things about this space was we wanted to show how the architectural and the box products can really kind of coexist together. So we're able to demo pretty much everything that you see in here back to back next to each other. And in terms of the box speakers, we are starting with obviously the Q series. So this is our kind of good level speakers. We've got the Q350s, the bookshelves, and the Q950 floor standers in here as well. So just to show people that the exceptional level of value that we create even at our entry level, because these speakers, they're trickling down a lot of technology from what we have into the R series, the reference and the blade, because we're big believers that everybody deserves great sound, no matter kind of what kind of price point they're looking at. And the Q series is a real kind of epitome of that. So we always like to start sort of doing like a progression through, starting with the Qs and then building up through the ranges when we bring people through the facility. So from here we move up the line over to here, where we go into our R series and our reference. So again, we've got the R3 bookshelves, we've got the R11 floor standers, and then the reference 2 LCR speakers. And again, we're talking about stepping up. You're taking everything from the Q series and just bringing it up to the next level. So there's this beautiful kind of actual progression when you go through the ranges. So you don't lose anything that you loved about the range before, you just get more of it, which is really a unique thing with KEF. A lot of work is put into consistent voicing throughout the products. So even within a home theater, for example, you can mix and match various of the box and architectural products as well to kind of suit exactly what you're going for in your living situation. Interesting point I want to make is the LCR speakers. So this is with the Q2 250, the 650, the R2C and the reference 2 and the reference 4. Okay, these are in the past billed as center speakers, but if you've got sort of custom cabinetry like this, they can very happily be used as LCR speakers as well. So a lot of flexibility even throughout. You don't need to consider these as only center speakers.
You know, as we went through our demos here, one of the things that impressed me the most was just how consistent the voicing is between all of these different models. This really allows for such flexibility with the KEF product line to be able to mix and match based on your room application. If you want to see any of these products, we have a ton of KEF on display in both our Raleigh and Charlotte, North Carolina showrooms. Feel free to stop by and listen anytime. And now we've moved over to the living room area of the lounge, and this is where they showcase their LS collection of products. Now these are incredibly unique product. A lot of companies, most companies in fact, make a box speaker. The technology that they are able to pack into these small, compact footprints is absolutely incredible. And I'm gonna let Ben tell you a little bit more about it.
So the LS collection consists of 1 passive speaker and 3 active speakers as well. The passive speaker is the LS50 Meta, which is obviously the replacement for the award-winning legendary LS50 that came out for our 50th anniversary. And the LS actives kind of come from that as well. I mean, the first one was the LS50 Wireless 2, which we have here, which is an active version of the LS50 Meta. And that kind of then trickled down into the LSX2s that we have over there and the LS60s that were released a couple of months ago. And the active products is really just a combination of practically everything the R&D team have done over the last 60 years. It's a real kind of conglomerate of acoustic design, amplification, DSP. So really taking the best of what we've done and stitching them together just to that little bit higher degree that we're able to extract huge amounts of performance out of these products. Now, great performance is just one thing when it comes to active speakers. They also need to be really easy to use. The user experience needs to be absolutely on top of its game. So the active products all have together what we call the W2 platform. So they're all running off of our KEF Connect app, which gives you full control over each system. And this allows you even to actually tell the speakers a little bit about the room, because, show me somebody that's got a perfect listening environment. There's very, very few of us that do. So we are kind of fighting against the room a little bit. But we're able to look at this and go, okay, the speaker is X centimeters from the wall behind, the room is so large, and we can just subtly but very powerfully adjust that so that we're able to ensure that you're getting the best KEF performance no matter what room you're in or how you're positioning them in the room. In terms of connectivity, if there's anything you want to throw at it, chances are you're going to be able to play it through the LS active products. So we have HDMI input for all of them as well. We have analog input, so you can mix the old technology, say turntables, with the new tech of active DSP speakers. We've got coaxial inputs, we've got optical inputs, but also you can access, say, Deezer, Qobuz, Tidal, Spotify Connect, etc. through your phone as well. So these products we very much see as our vision of the future of hi-fi, and hopefully you guys do as well.
At AudioVice, we just love the LS collection. We actually just released a review on these LS60s. We're one of the first in the country to have them. If you want to learn more about them, check out the link in the description below. All right, and now we're over to one of the most exciting parts of the listening lounge, and that is the Blade One Metas. These are absolutely phenomenal flagship tower speakers. Ben, tell us a little bit about the Blade One Metas and how they came into existence.
So the Blade One Metas, hands down, one of my favorite speakers that we make. Just their ability to just melt away and just leave the music behind is just phenomenal. So Blade One Metas is obviously an upgrade from our original Blades, which we brought out back in sort of 2010, 2011 time. And the idea behind these is to essentially make like a super Uni-Q, right? So on all of our other products that have Uni-Q, it's the high frequency, the tweeter, and the mid-range driver being a point source. But the way that we've arranged the bass drivers around the Uni-Q with the Blade, and actually trickled down to the LS60 wireless as well, is to essentially create a pseudo point source across the entire bandwidth of the loudspeaker. So every frequency seems like it's coming from that single point, and that's what allows the speakers to really just melt away, as I said earlier, and leave behind just the music. The imaging, the scope of the soundstage is just unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. But also wrapped into just this really nice, visual aesthetic package. So not only do they sound great, they look as good as they sound as well.
Now, we had so much fun listening to the Blade One Metas. We spent almost an hour parked on that couch just going through all of our favorite demo songs. One of the coolest things that Ben and team were able to show us was the nickel trick. And now I'm gonna let Ben show you guys.
The placement of the bass drivers around the Uni-Q is for the single apparent source, but this also gives us a secondary benefit as well. Now, we're big believers at KEF that the only thing that you want to hear is the drivers themselves. You don't want to hear the cabinet singing, because that's added sound that was never in the original recording in the first place, right? So the bass drivers are mounted back to back in a force cancelling arrangement. So a little trick that we like to do, and hopefully this is going to be first time doing this, we actually like to balance. So it's a curved top, so it takes a little bit of doing. So just place it on top and then play something with ridiculous amounts of bass through it. So those bass drivers are really moving, really throwing it out, and that coin will not move.
And we can say we ran some very, very bass-heavy tracks through these, and it didn't budge. The first thing I did when I got here was make sure it was not super glued, and I can promise you it's not. It took me the better part of a minute to get it back up there, so very impressive demo. All right, Ben, well, thank you so much for having us. We've had an absolute blast with you this week.
It's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys over. Really, really happy to have AudioVice on board with KEF, and really looking forward to visiting you guys and checking out our products in your own stores.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like Ben said, we have many of these products available for demo in both our Charlotte and Raleigh locations. Please take a minute, like this video, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you get notifications every time we release new content, and we'll see you next time.